So it looks like E3 really has been canceled thanks to that dang PBR virus, which obviously sucks for anybody who planned on going to the event, but if you ask me, while the effects of canceling E3 are still a big deal, it's not nearly as devastating as it would have been in any of the previous years, which begs the question of whether or not there's even a point for the convention in the first place. So sit back in your designated YouTube viewing chairs, call the fire department because this one's about to get out of control, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the moderately disputed champion of the world, CameronAllOneWord, to tell you the pros and cons of canceling E3 altogether. Alright, so it's no big secret that E3 is becoming more and more pointless with each passing year, but even so, you still can't deny that it's still cool for gamers to have something to look forward to every June. I mean, after all, it feels like Hanukkah to find out about assloads of new games and consoles within the same week, and it's fun watching all these companies scramble to try to compete with each other. However, when you set the nostalgia of the past E3 events aside, it becomes harder and harder every year to justify the convention, because it's just easier for gaming companies to put information out whenever they want now that the internet's more prevalent than ever before. I mean, yeah, the internet's been around for longer than E3, but since everyone was used to getting their gaming info from magazines and Adam Sessler's wacky ass, it took quite a bit of time before Nintendo finally realized that they could just kind of put information out whenever they wanted, and more importantly, whenever they were ready to. Everybody called the above-average-sized den crazy at the time, but then slowly but surely, other companies have been following suit in recent years, and as a result, E3's usefulness started growing thinner and thinner. In fact, Sony even abandoned the conference altogether before there was even any kind of virus, and given the reaction to like 85% of the E3 presentations in the past decade or so, I can't really say that I blame them. I mean, just look at Nintendo, for instance. Technically, they abandoned E3 all the way back in 2016, but even so, they still went out of their way ever since then to make sure they had a direct ready in time for June. The only difference is that they weren't wasting money on stages for a live show and making us sit through awkward and nervous game designers who don't belong on stage in the first place rambling on and on. Instead, they just decided to keep things a little more low-key and laid back by still showing up, but making their announcements in a pre-recorded video, not because they had to, but just because they wanted to make everyone happy and keep the tradition going. Or rather than just appreciating the fact that something's better than nothing, most fans have just been duking all over their presentations every year. I mean, Nintendo stock even dropped by a friggin' $1 billion after their 2019 E3 Direct just because it wasn't mind-blowing. And the reason why it wasn't mind-blowing is because N-Dog's got the luxury of being able to reveal what they want when they want. Shareholders assumed that Nintendo not feeling like showing all their cards at once when everybody else tells them to meant that they must not have anything in the pipeline. And if you ask me, I think that's just plain dumb, because with nobody expecting Sony to be there, I'm sure their stocks aren't going to drop by $1 billion after not showing anything at all. So the only real lesson to learn here for Nintendo is that when it comes to E3, nothing really is better than something. Personally, I think it's kind of weird to get mad at Nintendo for not having a Direct for the first few months of the year, while also expecting them to hit a home run at E3 in June. And if they have something important they want to reveal in late April or early May, I honestly think it's kind of weird that they're expected to just save it so they don't get shown up in June. Directs and states of play are a great way for Nintendo and Sony to be able to reveal what they want and when they want, as opposed to the days where having a bad E3 can be disastrous for your company. And honestly, I think that's a good thing, as while it is fun to be bombarded with tons of announcements all at once, the reality is that you're only going to be able to remember and talk about a few things, which means that a lot of stuff's going to have to get buried every year, or at the very least not get the attention that it deserves. I mean, when they revealed Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair just a few days before E3 in 2019, there were a lot of people that were flabbergasted that it wasn't saved until the big event a few days later. But do you really think that anybody would have cared about an indie game if Microsoft revealed something as big as a Halo kart racing game, or if N-Dog dropped one of their infamous N-bombs? I mean, neither of those companies really lit the world on fire with their E3 in 2019, but since Playtonic really had no way of knowing what they'd be competing with, it was definitely a smart move of them not to risk being overshadowed, just like it's smart for Sony to avoid the same risk and people being furious at their presentation if it's anything but a 10 out of 10. Or, you know, in Adam Sessler's case, a 5 out of 5. And even if you are a huge AAA game developer with a big new game to reveal, wouldn't it still be better to drop something like a Mario Galaxy 3 trailer and have it be the main focus on the front page of every gaming website rather than to share the spotlight with like 35 other games? What if that same trailer wasn't quite ready in June? Would it really make sense for Nintendo to rush it when E3's not even that big of a deal anymore? Back in the day, it was important to make a big impact at the event because everybody was watching, but these days, pretty much everybody's watching everything on the internet anyway. And as far as the PBR virus canceling 2020's E3 goes, though, I don't see why anybody even cares if they weren't going to the convention in the first place. I mean, it's not like the games that were going to be revealed are going to be canceled or anything like that, and since most of us weren't even going to be there anyway, the only real difference is that we might just get the exact same information at a slightly different time. And if I had to bet, then I'd guess we're probably going to get this exact same information a little bit sooner, if anything. Not only that, but if all these gaming companies don't focus all their announcements over the same few days, then maybe some of the lesser popular titles might have a better chance of being noticed. And if it turns out that it doesn't make much of a difference in 2020, then what's the point in doing it in 2021 and beyond? Like I said, E3 is definitely a fun time, and personally, I'd hate to see it disappear altogether, but outside of being nostalgic over the tradition, I can't really come up with a good reason to keep it around, since saving the best announcements only risks them being overshadowed, and taking it easy only results in fans being ungrateful and stock prices plummeting just because there's too many people out there who didn't get the memo that E3 is not really that important anymore. So unless fans can manage their expectations and stop getting furious whenever an E3 presentation doesn't melt their faces, then I think gaming companies should probably just reveal their information whenever more people will appreciate it. But anyway, what do you think about the possibility of E3 riding off into the sunset? Do you think fans will start being more grateful for companies being involved when they really don't have to be, or are they just gonna keep expecting announcements to be as big as they were in the early 2000s and cause companies to not even bother wasting their time? Either way, vote for what you think in the poll, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and as always, I'll try my goddamnedest to respond to everybody. Let me tell you, if there's two people who could easily deliver the best E3 conference of all time, then it would definitely be today's patrons of the day, Tim Ford and Alec Duncan. If you want to be badasses like these two, then consider supporting FU Game Crew on Patreon for loot boxes in the mail and other wacky rewards. And if you want to make a cameo, then send pictures or videos of you rocking any FU Game Crew merch like these legendary human beings you see before you. As always, like and share this video anywhere on the internet to help this channel grow. And if you want to prove that you're not down with registered sex offenders, then go ahead and press the subscribe button if you haven't already. My name's CameronAllOneWord, and I'll be back with more videos soon.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.